2020 is a very special year for women in banking and finance, as we celebrate 20 years of our network, 20 years of women supporting women, and 20 years of working with our corporate members to create a tangible impact on gender diversity across the banking and finance sector.
This International Women's Day, let's take a look at the progress that's been made to enable equality and what each of us can do to make a difference, each for equal.
Women comprise 50.7% of Australia's population and 47% of the workforce.
Women now represent 17% of CEOs and 30% of key management personnel across industries and sectors. On the ASX 200, the percentage of women on boards has exceeded 30% for the first time ever, up from 8% in 2008.
34% of Australia's business operators are women, including thriving communities of female entrepreneurs from the financial planning, accounting and startup ecosystems, and their numbers are rising.
With improvements in flexible work practices and family-friendly policies, the number of working mums in couple families reached a record 70% in 2019.
Across the financial services and insurance sector, women make up 55% of employment and 35% of mid and senior management roles, but only 9% of CEO and heads of business roles.
For 20 years, WIBF has been working to increase the representation of female leaders in the banking and finance sector, because we all know that diversity makes a difference. But women alone cannot fix this imbalance.
Our corporate members represent banks, insurers, fintechs, regulators, super funds, professional firms, and corporates servicing the sector. We need each and every employee across our membership, men and women, to work with us on enabling equality, each for equal.
We need each for equal because this year, in 2020, the World Economic Forum ranked Australia 44th out of 153 countries in its Global Gender Gap Index, down from 15th in 2006.
Australian women rank equal first in educational attainment, but only 49th in terms of economic participation, 57th in terms of political empowerment, and 104th in terms of health and survival.
We need each for equal because still today there are 17 companies in the ASX 200 with no women in their executive leadership team, and 114 companies with no women in executive leadership line roles.
We need each for equal because Australia's GDP could be boosted by up to 300 billion if employment gap between men and women narrowed further.
We need each for equal, we just do, because companies with gender diverse executive teams are 21% more likely to have above average profitability.
We need each for equal because in Australia, fewer women run top Australian companies than men named John or Peter or David.
We need each for equal because companies that have appointed women in key CEO and CFO roles have seen a 20% increase in stock price momentum and a 6% increase in profitability.
We need each for equal because workplace diversity is important to job seekers. In fact, 67% of job seekers take workplace diversity into account when they're evaluating roles and where to work.
We need each for equal because organisations that build a culture of equality are 6 times more likely to have an innovation mindset, be more willing to innovate and less afraid of failing.
We need each for equal because women represent 58% of higher education students and outnumber men in higher education completion rates. And yet, men graduate university earning more than women in 16 out of 21 fields of study.
We need each for equal because Australia's national gender pay gap is still 14%, meaning that every week, on average, women take home $241 less in her pay packet than a man.
We need each for equal because women are retiring with 47% less superannuation than a man.
We need each for equal because older women are the fastest growing cohort of homeless people in Australia today.
We need each for equal because on average, 1 woman a week is murdered by her current or former partner, and no Australian should be okay with that.
And that's why this year on International Women's Day, I pledge each for equal.
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 I pledge each for equal.